Okay, so you noticed, did you not?
We noticed.
Hey, there's no longer sentence.
Oh, my Leanna's going to be so proud of me for fixing. No, it's her work. You know that, right? Like she went in and fixed it. I just never took the time to go in and cut the new video. And for our listening audience versus our watching audience, who knows? No, has no idea what we're talking about. Our intro music, it's like a slideshow. It's got like 3 different slides. And it has the word sentence in it. And I've finally fixed it to the proper English spelling, sentence.
And she fixed it, but he's taking credit for it.
Oh, I'm not taking any credit. She did the work, and then I sat on it for like, I don't know, 10 episodes or some shit. I mean, it's not quite probably, but it's been a while. And every week she's like, did you fix that? Nope, I did not. It's becoming the running joke, and I'm probably never going to fix it. That's what I said.
You're going to have to play with it back and forth every once in a while. just throw in the old one. Just
hell
to
no,
see
I deleted the old one. It's not there. I can't do it. But that was a good idea. You just should have told me before I deleted stuff. Anyways, I mean, I saw both. I was watching both your faces, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Congratulations, Justin! You fixed a letter. Guys, welcome to episode 92 of UnHacked. Let's do some quick introductions, and then we're gonna jump in because we've got some cool shit going on here in the laboratory. I'm Justin Shelley, CEO of Phoenix IT Advisors. And guys, I've been saying it forever. I feel like I'm finally doing a better job of delivering on it. I like to help my clients use technology to make more money. And I've got the numbers to back it up today. And then, of course, we got to protect that money from the hackers, the government, the law firms, everybody that's going to try to come steal our money if, God forbid, we do something wrong. I mean, and that's really what it comes down to. We used to, actually, the fun fact, I'm going to get on a tangent real quick. You guys should be familiar with the marketing campaign called Stupid or Irresponsible.
Yes.
Josh, were you around for that? So we're all part of the same marketing group. And that was a letter, direct mail that would go out. When you get breached, are they going to call you stupid or just irresponsible? It caused a lot of division. How crass, I guess. I don't know that opening was. And it went on to, anyways, I digress. I had the podcast was originally called Stupid or Irresponsible. It's still up on my website if you guys want to go back and listen to that.
You purchased the domain, right?
I did. Yeah, I still own that. Stupidorirresponsible.com.
We should have a game show like that on
I know, right?
Every once in a while. Is it stupid or is it just irresponsible?
Yeah. So anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that. That's my introduction. Mario, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. And then Josh, you're going to come right up on his heels.
Roger that.
Yeah, Mario Zaki, CEO of Mastech IT, located in New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan. Been in business for 20 years, helping small to medium-sized businesses stay in business, using security and help them grow their business with the IT, cybersecurity, and AI.
Good stuff. All right,
yeah,
Josh.
I'm Joshua Holloway, CEO for 7th EI Technologies here out of the Sacramento area with an office in Reno, Nevada as well. But we help clients coast to coast in about 27 other states. But we're an IT company that primarily focuses on businesses who have compliances, that they try and integrate the compliance into their technology and make their technology work, because the only way to be 100% compliant is just turn it all off and everybody go home, because that's the only way you're ever going to get there. No, seriously, though, we're here to help businesses figure out how their technology won't hinder their ability to make money, but how to make it all work and at the same time still hit their compliances and their requirements.
Yeah.
You think people will pay us just to go there and turn off shit?
Probably.
and sign it off. Compliant.
Compliant. If they're still making money, they'll do it.
Okay, I'm just being dumb today, but do you guys remember the movie from like the 80s, I think, maybe late 80s, called Flight of the Navigator?
No. Which one?
Flight of the Navigator?
Yeah.
Anybody? You do?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember the little AI/robot navigator?
Yep.
And every time the kid said something to him and the navigator understood and was ready to move forward, what did it say? Oh my God. It's your whole world.
I'm locking up on that one, though. Was it Roger? No.
Compliance.
Oh, compliance.
So
yes. And then it would do it all kind of
dramatically.
sassy like sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I have
way over my head. I never watched it.
He never watched the TV. Never watched TV in the 80s.
Well,
Were
I
you
was
even
born
around
in
in the
79.
80s?
I was born in 79, so
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're old. Okay, guys, let's get down to business here. We've kind of had this running theme where we end the episode either giving a homework assignment to the audience or to ourselves or both, and then coming back the next week having done jack shit. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
sounds about right.
So to keep the theme going, I believe last week Brian talked, and by the way, Brian's missing. We miss you, Brian. You better be here next week. Brian did his financial integration, right? Has anybody done anything as far as tying their finances into AI? I'll be honest, that one made me nervous. I'm just like, nope, not there yet. I'm not doing that yet.
I started the integration with my AI agent to pull not only some financials from my PSA tool, but tickets and stuff like that as well. So the financial part is still pending, but the tickets part is working because I'm trying to isolate. We're using the same agent, but I didn't want any of my technicians to be able to just ask, financial stuff. So
right.
Everybody's going to ask about tickets. So we did that. That was the easier part. Now we're putting some safeguards and stuff like that in place.
And Josh, I think it was your idea to go that route instead of integrating your financial pack. QuickBooks Zero, I think, is what Brian uses. I've looked into it. To be fair, I can do it. I probably will. But I think, Josh, you came up with the idea of like, hey, we should probably just integrate our PSA because there's a lot of financial information in there, right? Wasn't that you?
Yeah, that was the direction that I went into. We have talked about integrating QuickBooks, and I actually built a CFO GPT. Okay. And we didn't get as far as that integration because I wanted to test the waters a little bit. So instead of it giving it direct access to QuickBooks, and I believe QuickBooks is read only anyways, I left that alone. I went with my PSA, which is different than I think Mario's using, but I had integrated our PSA. Our agent is only between me and the agent and the PSA, so I don't have to worry about anybody trying to data mine on that one right now. And I was able to pull contractual information, license counts, costs, earnings, and pretty much almost build out a full dashboard. All of my data is raw data, but I can get it, and I can run analytics against it. And the goal ultimately was to feed the information weekly to the CFO bot. And so he could just watch our numbers on a weekly basis to a monthly basis to a quarterly basis to really see how healthy we felt that we are. I mean, we look at our P&L, we meet on it. I want to say we meet on it every other week. Every month we have a financial meeting amongst us humans, and we wanted to see where we could automate a little bit better and get more information as the month was going on and through an automation.
Okay. And to be clear for our non-technical audience, PSA stands for Professional Service Automation. It's the equivalent of a EHR, practice management software in the healthcare world. It's how we manage tickets, we schedule ourselves, CRM. We do track of kind of.
Yeah, it's our project manager, our CRM.
Right.
There's some financials in there, or at least that's the start of our financials. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for me, the PSA is kind of where it starts because contractual information is in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other MSP does it different.
Yeah, no, we put like our invoices and stuff like that through there. It automatically will send to QuickBooks for like the actual processing, but we can do a lot of things on there because if a customer is not on like an unlimited plan and we have to bill them, prepay or anything like that, it's easier to do it through our PSA system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since we got that homework, just an add-on to that. There's a tool that we use, and I don't want to name names, but I hear that their company's not doing so hot. So this past week, we collectively decided, how can we recreate what we're getting from them? Because if they shut their doors, we would be stuck on quite a bit of information, especially analytical information, financial side as well as ticketing side. It's not our PSA. So again, not naming names.
Without naming names, analytics. Can you talk about what it does?
It feeds a lot of dashboards for us now, and a lot of dashboarding information. And because that came up, and we were already analyzing the stuff through that tool for our financial analytics, that our homework that we got from Brian was like an easy thrust, because it's like, wait, here's a possible problem, and we're just going to build our own, because if they shut their doors, we won't be scrambling for a fix. We will already have a fix in place.
And I think I've mentioned this before, but I do think that's where things are going. The off-the-shelf box software, or even the software as a service, a SaaS, however you say it, that we buy or that we rent, that world is changing. I'm not going to say it's going away, but a lot of these things that used to require specialty programming and hundreds of thousands of hours to code can now be built in days. Right. And so, it's an interesting point. I think there's going to be a huge consolidation in software and tools. And I mean, this landscape's changing. So on that note, I kind of want to pivot to just, we're wrapping up. We're getting close to the end of this segment of this mini series where we're talking about integrations. Brian's not here. And Mario, I met you when, before we started recording, just briefly mention some of the things, because, and I'm bringing this up because this was just a few days ago. I don't think you had any integrations, and now I expected that, and you're like, no, I've got one. I can talk about it if you want. So, just give me your elevator pitch on what integration you have, and then you'll deep dive on that later. But tell us what you've been working on.
So, just to kind of like build on what I said a few minutes ago. So we have an AI agent that we have it integrated inside Teams, so we're able to communicate with it using Teams. Not only just myself, but my entire team. He actually is in the tech support chat, so any of the guys can just mention like, hey, we call him Marcus. So I have a couple agents. His name is Marcus. I have another one, Maximus. I'm going with the whole
nice, the Stoics,
the M theme.
Yeah, the gladiator theme. So
the gladiators, okay. Marcus Aurelius was one of the OG Stoics, though.
Yeah, exactly. On. So I have them integrated into our PSA, and I can ask them like, hey, how many open tickets do we have right now? And he'll just say, okay, yeah, you have about 50 open tickets or whatever open ticket. I could ask him how long is the average ticket open for? Who took the last ticket? So we have it integrated with our PSA. And of course, you could run, get a lot of this stuff right from the PSA through like a report. But, Justin, you use the same system as me. Running some reports out of Halo requires, some programming and digging in and, and stuff like that.
And good luck and magic. Yeah.
Yeah. And prayer.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is so much easier. I can literally just conversate with them and say, how many tickets were closed by, the lead tech today or whatever. And instead of building these reports, I literally can just conversate because he has a read-only connection right into our system.
Yeah. Okay. I had somewhere I was going to go. I've been doing this a lot lately. I think I'm getting old, guys. I might be losing my mind.
We still don't know what's in that cup you keep drinking from.
This one's labeled. And I'll give a little plug to the Blackberry Zero Sugar Dr. Pepper. Amazing. I love this stuff. I've been turned on to this. This is Leanna's drink of choice.
Not today's sponsor.
Yeah. Well, I'll send them an invoice. I'm a Coke Zero guy. If we're really going to do this, I mean, we did a fit check a while back. Now we should do a beverage check. I don't know. I'll tell you though, in my early days of podcasting, when I really got started, I was not drinking soda pop. I was drinking a lot of adult beverages, and I didn't remember the last half of most podcasts. I don't do that anymore for now. Anyways, guys, so as we've started doing integrations, and I think I ratted myself out on day one. I went in and started doing what Josh taught us. And we've actually got the 5-page PDF downloadable on, what is that, episode 91, I think? No, because that was last time.
90,
I think.
Anyways, to integrate AI into your Outlook, to your email.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great stuff, but I immediately had security concerns. And I'm going to make this disclaimer right now that, to everybody listening, before you get into doing these integrations, please hire, if this is your wheelhouse, great. Otherwise, hire a professional to come in and make sure that this stuff is locked down and secure. And I'm lazy, Josh, so I didn't want to go in and do all the stuff you did to lock your stuff down. And so I have moved to a secure platform. That's easy. There are some limitations to it, I'm not going to lie, but there's some stuff that I really like, and that's where I've been bringing my integrations in, and I'm going to talk about.
I could have swore you were about to say you hired a professional.
Listen, we're not going to talk about that on the air. No, what I'm trying to gently do is plug our services, right? Like, this is the world we live in, and it is dangerous and scary. So, I've been saying this about podcasting forever, since I started doing security podcasting. One of the main reasons I do it is to keep myself sharp. I won't let myself fall behind on this because it's too dangerous. So find somebody who knows their stuff. You got 3 of them right here. One who will be here next week and has been here before. All you got to do is go to unhackmybusiness.com. And by the way, no ED, unhackmybusiness.com. I got called out for that one. And go to any episode, and there's a little spot right there where you can either ask us a question. None of these have any strings attached, but that's more of a casual conversation. And then there's another box where you can click on it to ask for a free consultation. And all of us have that standing offer to just have an initial conversation and at least get you pointed in the right direction. So before I go into what I'm going to talk about this week, I want that disclaimer. I want it to be very clear that we are playing with fire. Last week I talked about, having a lit match inches away from a fuel-soaked pile of hay, hay pile, I called it, which shows you what a country guy I am not, because I listened to that later. I'm like, oh my God. I think haystack is probably a better term for that, but hay pile, I don't know. I don't know. I am an IT guy who's been thrust into country living, and we're adapting. All right, enough of the nonsense. Let's talk about integration. So, as I said, I moved to a secure platform. I'm much more comfortable with that. And then, as Mario and Josh have both talked about, I'm using it to talk to my PSA. I'm using it to automate and augment the information or the processes that we all have in our ticketing systems. So integrations have been around forever for us. Is our RMM tied into our PSA, right? So RMM is remote monitoring and management. Mm-hmm. That's the stuff, that's the little program that goes on everybody's computer that runs constant diagnostics. How much memory are you chewing up? How much hard drive space do you have left? And has your computer been restarted recently? All the stuff that causes problems, it goes out and finds that information, gives us proactive alerts that go into our ticketing system, usually as noise. Correct or no?
Correct.
How many RMM alerts do you guys think are generated in your business on a given day?
As of this morning,
not actionable.
Noise, total.
Oh, noise?
Just total tickets.
I had 301 this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we sit around that when we first come in. Noise-wise, I've seen it be up to up 1,000.
It's crazy, right?
It just depends on like what people were doing on their systems the day before, or was it a patch Tuesday that we moved to a Wednesday or a Thursday?
Some of them are actionable. And I'm not going to pop quiz anybody or put you on the spot, but I am going to talk about what I'm doing right now. And it's still in development. Full disclosure, I just started this. I feel like everything we're doing with AI is brand new, and we're learning and we're improving. But one of my pain points in my business is we are a little understaffed right now. And so if we're not careful, this stuff can slip through the cracks. And here is how I used AI in prepping for this episode, talking about integrations. First thing I did is I tied I've been talking about the dashboard we're making for unhackmybusiness.com, where we got your security journey, and you can go in there and check things off and validate that you're secure. As I built that, I just keep tying more and more stuff into it. I recently built an MCP server. Does anybody remember the episode where we had anybody? It's just you, Mario, because Josh wasn't here for it. We had our Microsoft engineer who talked about MCP, and we're all just like, what's that? This is cool. So I now have an MCP server.
Don't ask me his name, though.
I can't pronounce it, even if I knew it. On the podcast. So it pulls, archives in its own database, and then makes available through this integration all of the episode titles, transcripts, the full transcript, the key takeaways, the whole show. I tied that into hats because my main pain point at that time was I forget like this. I don't know who that guy was. I wonder if AI can tell me while we're doing this, who was the Microsoft engineer talking about MCP servers. Okay. I'm just going to run that and see what it pulls. But this was a problem that I couldn't remember what episode we talked about various things. And I'd done things like train AI to go out and find the website, our website, because the transcript is there, and pull that and search it and whatever. And it was a pain in the ass, and it was slow, and it wasn't good at all. And I've just gone through iterations until finally I just pulled it all into a database that I have control over, and I set up this MCP server. And
so
I love that.
So an MCP server is pretty much like and correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, it's just a middle server that's pretty much doing the work, gathering the information, and keeping everything in a secure manner before it disperses it, correct?
Yeah. So when your agent hits it, it's a read only. It's not direct access to the data. You've added a security bridge between the two, so that if the agent goes crazy, or you're not deleting a database. And if you are deleting a database, you're deleting the database in the MCP server, but not production data.
So here's stands for, by the way, Model Context Protocol. It's just a way for AI to connect to data sources in a safe way, right? In its highest level. So I typed in the query after having this integration set up, who was the Microsoft engineer talking about MCP servers? And it pulls up Faiz Gouri, I don't know, Gouri. Episode 73, Microsoft engineer reveals how AI can read your entire database in plain English. Now, this is kind of fun because down at the bottom, it says, want me to pull the full episode summary? Given what we've been building today, because I was prepping for today's episode, Faiz's episode might be worth referencing in episode 92. And hey, coincidentally, I am. That was unplanned, but AI got a matched me on it. All right. So this is where I started with, some of my early integrations were tied to the vibe coding that we're going to come back to, in future episodes. So today I got started planning the episode, and, we were talking about integrations, and you guys had mentioned bringing your PSAs into it. So I'm like, okay, let's tie Halo into, because that's my PSA. Let's bring that into my hats program so that I can query Halo. I'm not going to do that live. I was going to have it pull up the most.
You're going to get bit by the demo bug.
I know, and I'm not going to do it. Well, I just don't want it to give out information for clients. Right?
I think one of the major points we're making right now, everybody who's listening, you'll notice that we're going not necessarily slow about it, but we're being intentional about everything that we do next to give access to. Because if you don't do it right, you can delete and destroy data. You can inadvertently give access to a system that may be compromised and it has full access to the system. So I think that one of the biggest points as we're talking about these integrations is be meaningful, talk to somebody who knows what they're doing, and make sure that whatever you're setting up is as secure as possible, so that we don't inadvertently give away data we didn't want to, or we're starting very simple where it's one integration, not 12 integrations at once, and then we're looping all this data together. It's one integration. Right. Is it secure? Is it read only? Can I destroy the data? No. Okay, great. Now let's code around it and let's do something. Because we've talked about our PSA, we've talked about our RMM, or there are other things that we could generate integrations into. But at any time in any one of those, if we weren't intentional and we left a door wide open, that's a really bad day. And I think there was a phrase we were talking about earlier.
A phrase? You're gonna have to jog my memory there.
What are they going to call us? Are they going to call us stupid
or irresponsible?
Yeah, or irresponsible, right?
right.
So
okay.
we're trying not to call that to ourselves and not get ourselves in trouble. And I think for the people who are listening who want to learn about this, like, you can charge ahead. Like, trust me, I've worked with and I'm talking to people who are charging ahead, especially even in the compliance world. And then they charge so far ahead that I ruin several days of their lives because we have to sit in a meeting and figure out, what did you do? Why did you do it? How did you break that compliance or that regulation? Or are you sharing too much information? Or what's the project plan? Because now we have to write everything down and track it. And then they're having to gather all this information because they got so excited. They just leapt forward, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of goes back to being intentional, being safe and being secure.
I mean, no matter and sorry to cut you off, Justin, no matter whatever phase you're in, if you're talking about like, when we started, we were talking about chatting. Now we're talking about integrations, and next we're going to be talking about vibe coding, which is just building onto everything we talked about. The first thing that you need to do with your agent, but yourself as well, is the planning. You have to kind of play every end. Like, what's the worst case scenario with if something bad happens with what I'm building, what's the worst case scenario? And that's very important, because if the worst case scenario is all my data is deleted, like there was a company not too long ago, I think about a month or two ago, somebody was vibe coding and wasn't cautious enough, and the AI agent on its own went and deleted the entire database, and they even had their backups on the same network, and it deleted all that too. So for them, their worst case scenario was lose everything we own.
Gone.
When you think about it too, like, that was an accident, but also a hacker could have gotten control of that computer and did the same thing.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
Yep. So again, this is, why when I start talking about this, I throw that disclaimer in there first. Guys, we want to teach you what can be done. We don't really have the time, the capacity, the attention span on this podcast. It's not the point of it. It's out of scope to talk about how to be secure, other than giving you the things to watch for. Get a professional involved in this. This is not, I've said for a long time, security is not DIY. Get somebody to help you with that. And again, restating this, as soon as I started doing these integrations, I'm like, well, I'm not going to keep doing it that way. I'm not even going to trust myself, and this is the world I live in, to go in and check all the boxes and make sure I give it to the right things. I'm going to a secure platform. So, as I started building this episode, I'm like, I didn't have an integration. I'm telling on myself. I'm like, I've got to demo an integration today, and I don't know what I'm going to talk about. So I've got this integration already into the podcast, and I just started chatting with it. And I was like, hey, I'm going to tie Halo, my PSA, into hats. And I want you to tell me, look at the past transcripts for the past few episodes and tell me, give me some ideas on what we should talk about today. And, it did. And we had to go back and forth a bunch of times. And, skipping the boring stuff, by the time I got done, I had built something that, coming back to all that noise that our RMM generates and dumps into our PSA that a lot of times doesn't get actioned on, I built a utility in there that I'm going to go ahead and show off. So I have to be careful where I put stuff, because I get this stupid windows within windows within windows into eternity and beyond. You guys ever see those eternity mirrors on both sides of a room? That's kind of what I get. Anyways, I'm going to share my screen. I've got it on the other side now, so it doesn't do that. And then we're going to talk about.
I kind of was enjoying seeing myself like 300 times.
I mean, I could go back to it, I guess. But let me bring that to full screen. Window. Here it is. Make sure I share the right stuff. Collapse that because we don't need that. Okay. I think it's now safe to share my screen.
Good job.
So you can see the very first thing. So I did all this. I got my demo ready, and then I had to give these instructions. Make a redacted copy of this report. Remove any client names, usernames, or computer names that have identifying information. So, and then I gave it an example. So here we have the redacted report. And basically what this does is it ingests all of those noisy tickets. And now, guys, tell me if you have this problem. When you're meeting with a client and you're saying, hey, you got a bunch of old equipment and you need to replace it, how often do they just go, cool, here's a blank check?
0.0 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because why? Like, what's in it for them? We haven't even identified a problem except we show them a report with red on it. And humans are programmed to not like red. We want to get it green or at least yellow. Like that's the best case. Most of these reports, when we go out and talk to a client about what they need to do and why, and oh, by the way, it's a huge investment, we aren't really giving them a good reason. So this is what I built. And we've got a summary at the top, hardware opportunity, proposal. So I'm just going to pick one. Oh, I'm on section 2. There we go. Proposal 1. No, this is right. Disk performance, because I redacted so much, I've got to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Disk performance failure. So we've got one of the alerts that our RMMs will give off is if a hard drive is working too hard, it generates an alert, right? So we pulled the industry out of this, but I do use the industry in the calculations that I'm going to come back to. The device role, this is a workstation, probably a front desk or back office system. Alert type, critical. Anyways, let's get to what it means to the end user versus what it means to us technical people. Sustained 90% disk active time indicates the OS is waiting on storage for extended periods, causing system-wide sluggishness and increasing risk of failure. So instead of just saying, hey, your disk is always working, like, okay, it's supposed to, it's a computer. This tells them why this matters. Then it gives an ROI calculation. Most likely, this is going to cost about $554 a year in lost productivity based on, this type of position, what they probably get paid in that particular industry. AI does all those calculations, and then it projects it out over a 24-month case. You're probably losing about $1,385 by not acting on this one particular RMM alert. And if we go down, their cost is about $220, $250, right? So now we've taken, it's going to cost you $200, $250, but over 24 months, you're going to make $1,385 back. These are numbers that can actually mean something to a business owner, especially to CFOs. They like this kind of stuff. And I'm going to skip down because like this gets pretty lengthy. Sorry for the dead air, guys. Because I wanted to, here we go. I wanted to see if I do this every week, and I only fed this like 5 tickets, by the way. If I do this, how much does it improve my my income? Because yes, I'm in business to make money, and I think I was making like $1,000 a week if I did this and everybody acted on it. But then more importantly, I wanted to know how much value was delivered back to the end user, the company, and it's 4 times that. So if I am charging them $1,000, I'm delivering $4,000 in value. I'd like to see more like 10x, but at least it's a real value that's being given back to them. And so now over a 24-month period, if I do this, if I do this every single week, then total net value delivered. Sorry, I'm like way off because I know I did these numbers. Here it is. I have the potential to bring in an extra $50,000 a year, and the client has a potential to get $205,000 in delivered value. if I run through this process and, I'm getting about the same, like I said, this is 5 tickets. This is very small. I just wanted something that I could use. So we're taking something that runs in 10 seconds and delivers $4,000 of value to me every week, and delivers, what was it?
1,300.
No, I did it wrong. $1,000 of value to me, $4,000 to the client in a week, every single week. But
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think you have 10x'd it, because how often do they just buy one computer at a time? Usually they're buying the same computer, they're picking up at a deal where they're getting, 3, 5,
right.
10, however, right? That hard drive is going to be typically experiencing the same issues, especially as they age over time. So when you look at it, that's one computer that you're analyzing, but you may have 5 of the same computer in the fleet.
Yeah.
So,
right.
There's 20 grand.
Yeah. And let's face it, the hard drive will not last too long if it's running at 90% for a long period of time. So what's the ratio, or what's the value when that computer completely crashes, either just the employee sitting there doing nothing, or the data that could be lost that's on that data, the hard drive as well?
Glad you brought that up, and I'm going to see if I can go find that, because that is included in these calculations. This was number 2.
And just out of curiosity, with your calculations, is it their hourly plus a burn rate? Because to business owners, you're not just paying $20 an hour for that employee. You're not paying them $20 an hour. You're paying, that plus a burn rate. Every state's different, but like most of them around 35 to 38%. So a $20 an hour employee is going to cost you $29 or something around there. Quick math, right? So it's even more for the overall cost of all the things and burden that we pay for an employee.
Right. And we're talking about their actual labor costs, fully burdened, or however you want to call that. But what we're also not calculating really is, what is the opportunity cost of not doing it? So what value is this client not able to deliver to their clients or customers because of it as a result? So, you can do this math a lot of different ways. The story I like to tell is, years and years ago, when I was employed, not self-employed, I worked for another company. The CEO of this multi-million-dollar company had a laptop so old that it took 45 minutes for it to boot up. So every single day he would walk into his office, he would turn on his laptop, and then he would spend 45 minutes walking around the office talking to people. Now that was fine. He wanted the FaceTime and whatever, but let's calculate the value of a CEO wasting 45 minutes a day because his computer won't work against the cost of a new computer. It's just stupid.
You bought a new computer in like 3 days.
Yeah. Or 5 minutes, depending on what he's got going on. It's insane. And I get it. If you want FaceTime, fine. Engineer that into your day, but don't do it because your goddamn laptop won't turn on. As the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, are you kidding me? So that's what I was trying to do here. And this is very, I have got a lot of work to do here till it spits out the report that I really want. And I'm going to actually have it go back into the ticket and make these entries, and then put them in a staging place where I can go review and send out to the client. But I want to show value. If I'm going to go to a client and say, hey, you need to spend $1,000 on this problem, I want to show them what they're going to get back in turn, not just say, you got to spend money with me. I hate that. And they hate that. I had a client that said to one of my employees, every time Justin comes around, he's just asking for more money. That is not the relationship that I want with my clients. And so that's the problem I was trying to solve here. And using just a very small sample set, I went from, I don't have a before picture, but just looking at this, let's call it 0. Let's say I didn't do it at all. And I've caught, 4 or 5 cases a week that were slipping through the cracks. I've increased my revenue by $50,000 a year, and I've increased the value I deliver to my clients by $200,000 a year with a 10-minute automation, or not even 10 seconds. It takes 10 seconds. And if you look at how this thing runs, I don't know that I can show that right now on the air. You don't have to do anything except say, generate report, and it goes back and pulls the previous 7 days of alerts. So some tweaking is needed, but I'm super excited about this because, we're trying to show how we can 10x or 50x our output using AI. And I keep saying a lot of times it's more than that, because what we're doing is we're catching things that just weren't happening. And this is a good example of where things can very easily slide through the cracks and not get addressed at all. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. As business owners, we want our employees to work 24/7, which obviously is impossible.
Slightly
But at least, but at least the time, the 9 to 5 that they're in, with the exception of lunch, we want them to be working. We don't want them to sit there and be waiting for we can't have the employee sitting there waiting for the computer. The computer has to be sitting there waiting for the user.
Right.
And and this is why, like, including myself, every employee that I have, no matter if they're an intern or whatever, that everybody needs 2 monitors, because I feel like they're so much more productive with at least 2 monitors.
Yep.
So it's all about providing your employees with the right tools to succeed and do their jobs, to the max that they can possibly do, without obviously burning them out and cracking whips. But if it pisses me off. One time I had somebody, I'm like, guys, why are you on your cell phone? And they're like, oh, I'm waiting for this thing to load and do whatever. It pisses me off. It just rubs me the wrong way. It's not his fault. I get it. But we shouldn't be waiting for anything, and that's why we are, obviously we're nerds, but we love AI because we can program nerds to do stuff for, not nerds. We can program AI to do nerdy stuff to do nerdy stuff for us 24/7.
Freudian slip, because I think AI is programming me to do work. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a toss-up, right? But you can also look at something that maybe somebody's hand jamming Excel information into Excel, right? Or moving data from one Excel spreadsheet to another Excel spreadsheet. You take those hours. Let's say you're paying somebody $50,000 a year, and part of what they do for a number of hours a week is they are copying and pasting and moving and taking data and putting it into one Excel spreadsheet. That's hours, right? So do the calculations on that one. And if you just sit down and analyze that, the value add is the fact that they no longer have to do that, and they freed up hours of time so that they could do more meaningful tasks. The business gets that information faster, which maybe allows for them to act upon other unknowns or unknown variables, or maybe it helps them to deliver a better widget or a better product to a client. And then overall, you're starting to 5x, 10x that information, that task, and the money that you're getting back in that. So just don't look at it as like integrations where we're having our systems talk to our PSA, right? Think of it as like, how do we get an integration where we just save an employee 8 hours a week,
right?
Just from copying and pasting or moving. Case in point, I have an inventory employee, and I didn't realize I hadn't given her access to Claude, and she came to me and she's like, I'm good in Excel. I'm not that great in Excel, but can I please use Claude to help me do this aspect of my job? And I was like, absolutely. I didn't even hesitate, because I didn't even have to know how much time she was putting into it. The $20 a month outweighs my savings, right? Like, I will save so much more by making her more efficient that $20, it's a huge game changer for us.
Yeah, just she's got to recoup an hour a month, right? Assuming she's fully burdened, make $20 an hour, which probably is understated.
It's a little bit more than that, but yeah, it's an hour of savings, and I know I'm going to get an hour a week at least without even analyzing it.
Well, and Josh, and this is what honestly I learned this from you, and it's part of your offer that's kind of translated into what I'm putting out as my AI offer right now. The first step is just figuring out what needs to be automated and improved on. And, where we came into this series of podcast episodes talking about AI, let's just build our chat engine so that it understands us, right? And give it some context. Segment 2, let's talk about integrations. Segment 3, let's talk about vibe coding. We're still going about it the wrong way. This is still not the way you should do this in your business, because what you should do is sit down and say, what do I need to fix?
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out how to fix it. And when I knew I just needed to talk about an integration, I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. So I get on AI and I'm like, hey, here's my situation. Here are my tools. What do you recommend I do to make my life better? It gave me about 4 or 5 things. And I'm like, oh, that one right there, 100%. Not something I would have.
Not appropriate for on-air talk.
Correct. It's like, Justin, you really shouldn't admit this in public, but you need this, 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 and this. But here's one you can put on the air. And that's the one I grabbed. So use AI to use AI. I'll keep saying that. Yes, we're talking about the technology behind it, but figure out the problem you need to solve first, then figure out how to do it. And that's what we can do with our free initial consult. Go to unhackmybusiness.com and book one of those calls. So, guys, that's pretty much what I've got. Final thoughts, key takeaways, signature sign-offs. Let's be done with this for the day, because we got more to come back next week and talk about. Mario, I'm going to throw this to you first, and then Josh, and then we're going to go ahead and close out.
Yeah, so Mario Zaki, CEO of Mastech. Like I said, we specialize in helping small to medium-sized businesses, stay secure, get better sleep knowing that their business will be there the next day, and we help them grow their company with technology. And my biggest takeaway is really, besides doing everything securely, is to kind of just make sure as an owner you have the responsibility to have your employees have the right tools and to be happy. Like, nobody wants to go into work and just feel like, oh, this is such a drag. This day is just moving so slowly. I didn't get anything done. If you provide them with new tools, shiny tools, and stuff that they're able to now achieve a lot more than they would have normally, even if it's, no matter if it's a new hard drive in the computer doesn't take 45 minutes to turn on, or just providing them with an account that's $20 a month, the investment just in your people and your work environment becomes, unmeasurable. Nobody wants to regret getting out of bed in the morning because they have to go to work. If that happens, then it's only a matter of time they're gonna look elsewhere. So you want your employees to be kind of like getting up before the alarm, wanting to come in there, would love to work 24/7 for you. I know it's illegal, but it's having old equipment and old stuff just makes people drag and not want to do their work, no matter if they're waiting on the machine or not.
Yeah,
that's my takeaway.
All right, Josh, what do you got?
Yeah, my takeaway from this one is exactly like what we've been talking about all day. If you don't know where to get started, talk to the AI. You can turn on the voice talk recognition and verbally talk back and forth. You could type it in there, but just ask a question to where it maybe asks you 5 questions about what your problems are, what you're trying to fix. Integrations will help you see your data. It might help you manipulate it and get it into a location to where you can better see your numbers, process things faster, but just go about it slow, go about it intentional, and make sure you have a plan. Because when you're out there just kind of wading around in the waters, the potentiality of getting drowned is super high. Like, all these different AI tools are just going to pile on top of all of us. And if we don't have a plan, we're just going to drown in all the options, right? And then everybody's going to go from one shiny new toy to the next. And, on that note, I'm Joshua Holloway, CEO for Seventh AI Technologies, and we're here helping you navigate through the ocean of different AI possibilities, and we're your AI beacon to solutions.
All right, guys, I genuinely appreciate it. I've said this before. I'm going to keep saying it. I know that you guys are given your time. You got lots to do. We all do. But thank you for being here and contributing, giving back to the community. My takeaway for today is, and I'm just, I came up with it first, but you stole it from me, Josh. Use AI to use AI. It's one of my favorite things to do. I was prepping for a podcast and I'm just like, I don't know what to talk about. And then I came out of that with something that my business desperately needs and has real demonstrable value to both my company and my clients. That's an example of using AI to use AI. So guys, that's what I've got. Again, thanks for being here. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Remember, listen in, take action, and keep your businesses unhacked.
Unhacked. What the heck?
Unhacked.
Actually, I do have one thing I want to add.
Oh,
and I used ChatGPT to kind of calculate for me. So we've been, obviously we've talked about vibe coding and stuff like that. I've put together like a system that helps us with like onboarding and offboarding, helps my technicians just, supervise everything instead of something that would have taken about 45 minutes at least. They could now do it in about a minute. That was one thing that we, and then as we programmed it, I decided, hey, why don't I have it work on licensing? Because we used to have one technician spend an entire month of January before our February renewals to go through and see what licenses were not being used and stuff like that. And I did the calculations by just spending about maybe 4 weeks of, not the whole 4 weeks, but just here and there. I saved almost $40,000 over the course of a year just by the automations that I've put together. And now I'm not going to fire anybody, but now I can dedicate his time to something else. But this system is now going to do so much more in such a short period of time and save me at least $40,000 in salary just because now I'm having AI take care of it.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
It is.
No,
That's wild.
You can buy a new shiny tool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
something.
Or vibe code another one.
Or a down payment on another car.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, down payment these days, Jesus. All right, guys. Any other like last minute? Sorry, you just did the outro, Justin, but we're going to keep talking moments.
No, I won't do that to you.
Just checking because you never know around here.
Oh wait, no, I'm just kidding.
I already muted you. Too late.